you know what AIPAC sucks? Is because AIPAC, they get the right wing or the Republicans saying, "Shut your filthy spit mouth, Jesus Christ." They get all of their money. Or say they get a bunch of their money.
Wait, please hold, Pepe.
Especially the right wing, and then the Republicans, like good little faggots, say, like puppet all of their talking points. But then they go ahead and spend most of that money on the Democrats, making sure that they get to, I guess, get Democrats that will at least talk easy or speak easy on Israel, but, still be a bunch of left-wing faggots. I mean, I would say AIPAC's a real big problem.
They give out a lot of money. They raise a lot of money because Jews trust AIPAC to help support the state of Israel.
Yeah, and fuck whether or not it helps fuel or fund Democrats and their left-wing agenda, at least in the United States, as long as they care about Israel.
You mean to tell me you don't want to keep working and paying taxes to help support the state of Israel? What about the state of Ukraine? The United Financial Corporation just inked a 20-year deal to rebuild Ukraine.
It's wiped off the face of the map the face of the map first. Ukraine or Israel? It's going to be Israel like 20 times out of 20. A million times out of a million.
Did you see this Shiloh video of this woman being accosted by this? Yeah, it's unbelievable. She is going to be on. She's going to be on Fox News by Friday, and she's going to raise $500,000. Her life is forever changed. This piece of shit changed this woman's life. She won the fucking lottery.
Did you see that he was charged with fucking rape 2 years ago?
It's unbelievable.
He got doxxed. So he thought he was going to dox her, but then it turns out he's just a Somali rapist. Amazing.
Did you see
at a playground?
Did you see seasonal COVID shots are going to no longer be available because of Robert F. Kennedy and Donald Trump? That Pfizer, Moderna, and J&J aren't going to be able to push the vaccine on you this flu season come June?
Yeah, a lot of you guys are
that's right.
You guys spurg about the vaccines, but it's fine.
Well, you're fully vaxxed, and you're like 4'11". I mean, you're gonna live like the life of a midget.
I got the vaccine, and then like I haven't gotten a vaccine.
Which one did you get?
The Johnson & Johnson one.
Oh, dude, that's the cheap one.
That's the one that's not an RNA or whatever vaccine. So
that's what. So like, without naming names, like when I talk to my guy in New Jersey who deals in the government, he's like. Yeah, we need the Johnson & Johnson just to give it to the homeless people.
I feel like the reason I got it is because they were like getting them out. Like there was a grocery store that closed down, and the parking lot was being used to give jabs. And my dad called me. He's like, "Hey, dude, there's like they're giving COVID shots across the street. If you want to get one." I'm like, "All right, fine, fuck it." So he said like some of the work restrictions I had, and so I got it. And I think I got one of those Moderna boosters a few months later, and that was like 3-4 years ago.
Wait, you mixed Johnson & Johnson with Moderna boosters?
Yeah, so that was the.
What the fuck's wrong with you?
I don't care. I can still fuck several times a day. I have not dropped dead. I've not gotten an illness. I was supposed to die a few years ago. Okay, I mean, Jesus Christ.
I probably had sex with a couple of vax girls at this point.
Well, I mean, to be fair, they might need a different kind of vaccine if they... Never mind, I'm just kidding. A bad joke.
Yeah, but for Rico, since he never got vaccinated, just like on his...
you gotta understand, the spike protein is the bioweapon. You've got to go to Twin Tower City. You got to understand this was a major medical disaster that the sudden deaths, the unexpected deaths are so far outside of the standard deviation. Do you know, I know people that died as a result of the injection who had pre-existing conditions, but their pre-existing conditions were enhanced and destroyed by the spike protein. They're literally poisoned and killed prematurely. Like they could have lived a longer life. The Pfizer one was developed, unfortunately, by someone who you might say wore a party hat. There's a lot of new party hats all around, but the point is, the now is all important, and you're still here on Clown House wasting your lives, talking about nothing.
So are you every day.
It's a comedy. It's a comedy show, and Pepe's one of my best participants. Your YouTube shorts are going viral, Dr. Pepe. I don't know if you see my newest account.
Most eccentric Jewish man on Clubhouse.
I'm not Jewish. I'm a cashew. Get it straight. My mother's gorgeous. My father's the Jew who converted to Christianity. But the point is,
you filthy half ape. That is that is how you spend your time.
The point is, you and Mon were a sensation for a hot minute. Then you ditched her because you're a racist and you couldn't handle the heat. You're still doing rooms. When are you going to do your next Howard Stern room?
Because do you understand? Okay, to be somebody like to do what I used to do, you're gonna just lose an audience. It's like, how do you want to just like go out while you were still somewhat, I don't know, relevant? Like, sure, why not? But you literally keep this shit going on all day. You're like glued to your phone. It's like, I don't want to do that shit. I've gone back to like doing music shit. And so I can't like when you guys see me in rooms and I'm quiet for long periods of time, it's because I generally have headphones or studio speakers, and I can sometimes hear what's being said. Like, I can't I'm just not participating.
I wouldn't waste your damn time. You make music.
Something sort.
Everything you guys say is music to my ears. I love you all. Keep going. Let's make music together. Let's make sweet harmony.
I was different type of arts, but I've always been into music.
Well, we need to wake shit up. We need to get more racist. We need to attack one another. Go ahead.
That's right. Yeah, we need to figure out why black women have smelly hair.
You need to figure out why black women don't wash it, bro.
Middle Eastern women have for whatever reason have a stinky breath problem. They have snail trails in their dark hair, like really illustrates
snail trail. I kind of think I know what the hell.
Well, there's a snail trail that you leave with your creamy, slimy snatch if you're a horny slut. Like, you sit on a motorcycle and it's just like all of a sudden it's like, wow.
Shit. Okay, let me ask you this.
But then there's the happy trail that goes like, I remember I was in a grocery store.
A woman with a hairy ass.
But I remember being in a grocery store and there was a woman that, and I think she was, because this was in this, hold on, shut up. You shut up, whore. This is not. This is a space.
Hell, this is a house of learned men.
Yes. Learn your fucking place. So, I was in Lynn, Massachusetts, and it's largely ethnically Italian at the time. She could have been a sand nigger. I can't tell the difference between some of these Southern Italians and them, if I'm being honest. But I was like, wow, she's good looking. She's with her mom. I was 19 at the time, to put things in perspective. And then she turns around. And then she's wearing a halter top, and I just see this gnarly, and I mean fucking gnarly, black fucking spine of hair going down her back to where her butt was.
Yeah, she was Italian.
So gross, so fucking disgusting.
But the Northern Italians, I think, are the master race of women.
Well, they're largely Germanic.
Ever since the time of Columbus, the Northern Italians have always looked down on us Southern Italians and held their nose to us. I hate the Northern Italians.
My question is, why does no one like black women? Can you go in order and tell us why?
Because they're fucking apes. That's why.
Do you want the per capita response, or do you want the per capita?
Pepe, can you repeat what you said?
Because they look like fucking apes.
Tyler's pretty hot.
Yeah, here's what's annoying is everybody's gonna be like, well, you say black people are stupid, which is, statistically on average, they're the dumbest race on the planet.
But you do realize if the African Americans,
they'll bring up exceptions to the rule, and it's just like, well, look at whoever. You can look at Thomas Sowell, who's smarter than most two white people's intelligence put together. That's fine. The difference between groups of people is literally the distribution of traits of intelligence. There's always going to be smart people of every other fucking race. It doesn't matter.
So why do you think black people are dumb? Do you think it's in their blood, or do you think it's a cultural thing?
I think it's mostly genetic.
Okay, so you think that their genetics create the culture rather than the culture created?
Pretty much, yeah.
You sound genetically dumb.
Well, Tyler's hotter than like 10 white bitches put together, so.
Who?
She is. She's beautiful.
Who's this black whore you're talking about?
She's South African. Right,
Okay, can you guys ping in Mama Jazzy?
I don't know.
Maybe the other side.
Probably.
But we need to ping in Mama Jazzy, please.
You know, the only time I've seen like a dead gorgeous black woman, I'm just being dead honest. It's been a mixed woman where she just seems to get like the best like features. Or maybe like she's primarily like has white features, but she has these accentuated features that she maybe got from the black side. And that is an exception to the rule. It's like a lot of biracials look like fucking goblins.
Wait, but what kind of biracials? Are you referring to the mix of
black and white?
Okay, so Pepe, do you think that the black man is the link between the white man and the ape?
No, I don't think so. I think if you look at it like genetically, there's been admixture with them in sub-Saharan Africa with the archaic hominid that was kind of like an ape-like human that existed after the quote-unquote great migration out of Africa, where we all evolved separately. So I mean, they based it. There was kind of like a reversion.
But Pepe, why do you think
more ape-like?
Why do you think African Americans say that everyone is African American and that white people lived in caves and lost their melanin and thus were just demelanated?
Why did they say that?
What is the true? What is the true story then? What's the truth? What's the truth of the earth and what's the correct math?
Yeah, the Chinese dynasties and Rome was black. We was Romans. Why did they say Jesus was black? The real is, that ties back to the Hebrew Israelite bullshit. Why did they say all this shit?
Do you think it's maybe because of an identity crisis? Because you guys put them in museums and you forced them to rape each other in breeding farms? Could it be that's why?
No, I think it's because if you even look outside of the United States, wherever black people are, outside of, in the western half of the hemisphere, they were brought here as slaves. But even if we look at Africa...
I agree with you. I just want to hear you say, I take no responsibility for the devastation that happened to the black people. That's all I want.
Oh, sure. Okay, here's how I look at it. Yes, they were absolutely taken advantage of by the white man. They were used as farm equipment. That was about it. We didn't have John Deere factories back then. Now, when it comes to the state of their race, their people, I think that regardless, they just look at Africa. The only semblance of I guess you could say, like, the modern world that you get are in pockets of where there was, colonialism. And I'm just being honest. Like, these people are not... It's actually kind of cruel. It's like taking monkeys from a zoo. And I'm not...
Okay, but do you think that colonialism played a good part in civilizing the primates?
It civilized them.
Okay, but then what do you say about the Indians? I mean, clearly, the Indians still wipe their ass with their hands. So did the English do a good job? It doesn't seem like this.
I would say that the English are pieces of shit. So I just want to get that straight. Of all the white men...
Well, they were better than the French.
When it comes to forming countries in the New World, yes.
Okay, so would you agree with me when I say that some people actually accepted the civilization given by the English, but other people like the Indians didn't? And then the next question would be, if you do agree, then could it be that the colonial power isn't the one doing good or bad, it's the colonized people who are accepting the good or not accepting it? For example, the Indians rejected civilization. Is that the case?
To some degree. Here's the problem with Anglos, and this is where Anglos are perpetual faggots. Yes, they did settler colonization where they sent families or men and women intact units that basically have sex with each other, institute a white majority. The Spaniards, they did their shit, but they just, when you just go to conquer, you're just sending young men and they're just going to miscegenate immediately. That's what they did. And but whenever the English, like look at South Africa, when the Dutch or the Afrikaners had South Africa, they had a brutal war where they literally put them in the Dutch in concentration camps. When the English took over, what did they do? What they always do? They import a bunch of cheap fucking labor from the rest of Africa. They only care about, their economic interests. They don't care about demographic change. And you can even look, if you look at mass immigration in the United States, people are always going to say, oh, it was the Jews. No, it was actually the fucking Anglo-industrial Northerners that said, well, we need more cheap labor. We need more fucking consumers. So what did they do? They advertised far and wide in Eastern and Southern Europe and parts of Western Asia. And then all of a sudden you get a flood of Guineas and Slavs and Jews that came here.
Very weird too, because then you start sucking a male cock, and nobody gives a fuck about any of that nonsense, you fucking weirdo. So
you're not even making sense. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about.
Why you get a breath?
Okay, you're not making. It's not even relevant.
What the fuck you had a breath for, kid?
Huh? Oh, it's walking. Maybe my mic's loud.
What the fuck?
I don't know, you pussy. Just shut your faggot mouth.
Alright.
But anyways, we're derailing. But when it comes to the Anglos, they've always done Now shut the fuck up, you faggot. Somebody kick this queer. Who is this homo? Okay. I guess the other people the serious people left. Alright. This retard who can't make any points. He got the power to troll a room when it was already ending and leave. Oh. So I'll go ahead and leave. I'm not giving this faggot any clout.
Oh, it's Boney. Hey, Boney. He gone. Hey, David. Ribainai shaloy. Ribainai shaloy.
So comedy, why do black women have smelly hair?
I don't know. You have to ask Hampton Spears. He knows the truth.
I haven't seen Hampton Spears in forever.
Somebody tweeted, comedian, actually never mind, I don't want this to be on recording. Your phones are too close to each other, they're making noise.
So,
Alright, I'm going to the gym. I'm going to let this room run since I was made the Green Bean King. You will all now have to suffer my YouTube video. I want to pray, but the distractions are never ending. Please help me overcome them. Help me be wholly focused for once. Help me pray only true, totally heartfelt words to you, dear God. Wise counsel, oh God, how can I make my way through the confusion and uncertainty that clouds so much of what I do? Guide me to wise teachers and mentors, whose advice is pure and in tune with your will. Guide me to true friends whose counsel is caring and promotes my best interests. Guide me to clear, correct decisions, to conclusions that are sound and free of all doubt. Clarity and assurance, oh God, grant me clarity and assurance in whatever I do. Teach me to trust in wise teachers, to learn from their insightful words, to teach me to trust in true friends, to treasure their care and concern. Teach me to trust in myself, to judge my own course correctly, and so to live with conviction and hope.
Surprisingly, a large number of individuals choose Medicare plans that actually require special approval on 70%.
Seeing light in darkness, God of unfathomable goodness, the history of human agony haunts my soul. Ashes, blood, and cries pierce my heart. Diabolic schemes of oppressors plague my mind. Grant me an extra measure of strength, understanding, and faith to help me find you, to discover your light amidst the blinding dread, through the revolting horror. Sorting through confusion, God of truth, help me sort through the dizzying confusion of my life. My mind swirls with all that I've seen and that I've read, all that's happened to me. Teach me to focus, to prioritize, to see with clarity, so that I can move on with my life. A humble spirit, dear God, guide me along the path of sincere humility. If I ever put on airs, stop me. Bless me with a humble spirit, with eyes that see only the good in people, with a mind always open to others' opinions, with a heart caring of their concerns. Teach me to humble myself even before the lowliest of your children, whose very brokenness brings them closer to you. Finding good. Oh, loving God, help me discover and uncover all that is good, all that is positive in the world. Camouflaged though they may be, let me find those elusive sparks of holy light. Let me perceive all the beauty and truth hidden within your creation. Finding good when I am confronted with baseness and evil, let all the bad fall away before me, that all the good and goodliness that lies hidden within everyone I meet shine forth and emerge as a grand reflection of beauty and light. Losing control, oh, how much good I have lost in losing control of my anger. Such a large portion of my life. So much growth I've let slip from my hands by allowing my burning thoughts to get the better of me. God, teach me to let go. Maintaining perspective, oh God, please help me comprehend that life in this world is fleeting, hardly more than a fantasy. At this moment I am here, as are those around me. Where will I be? Where will they be? In an hour, in a day, in a year, or in 10? Help me hold in my mind an image of the world that awaits me, of the life eternal that will follow my stay in this place of momentary fascination and reverie. And thanks my God, it has taken me time, but I'm finally learning to trust you. When I called, you answered. When I cried, you sent relief. When I was in need, you came through. You are there for me in every instance. I need only look, think, and understand, and I can always find you. There you are, always ready to help. Thank you, God, for waiting for me. Will wanting to wait in one of his most powerful statements, Rebbe Nachman unequivocally characterizes the facet of the human psyche which functions below the threshold of consciousness. The young man was bemoaning the difficulties he was encountering in his attempts to come closer to God, but I really want to be a good Jew, he insisted to Rebbe Nachman.
But, said the Rebbe, do you really want to want? And praise God, you've given me the physical, emotional, and spiritual will to overcome so many obstacles that have risen before me. How many times have I faced what I perceived to be impossible, hopeless situations, and withstood them, and discovered creative solutions through which to surmount and master them. You strengthened me again and again. I know that you will never fail me. In God's will, merciful God, I know how very much you care for me. You've made me in accordance with your will. Why then don't I always want to be that which you've made me? Why do I so often fall short of all that you want me to be? In God's will, God, I want to be so many things, to do so much, to achieve so endlessly, but can anyone be everything? Do everything, have everything? You alone understand the fragile balance of my soul. You invested in me the potential to make of that balance a perfect creation. Now help me fashion myself into just such a creation, in accordance with your will. Overcoming negative traits, oh God, help me perfect every element of my humaneness.
Talking points is like, why are we spending these millions and billions of dollars in Vietnam when we should be helping the black community and the poverty-stricken? Like, what are you doing?
But at first he was described in the media as a fervent Zionist. In fact, there's this letter that people say was falsely attributed to him, and it was called A Letter to My Anti-Zionist Friend. But some people say that he actually did write it. So he was. I was just reading through something here. It says King paid frequent tribute to Jewish support for black rights, defended Israel's right to exist, supported the Jewish state during the Six-Day War, and on more than one occasion opposed the anti-Zionist movement then. So there must have been some sort of shift.
There's two things going on. Number one, there's Jewish propaganda. Some of this arises during the BLM movement because they needed the BLM movement to not turn against Israel. So they had to paint Martin Luther King as a pro-Israel Zionist to convince the BLM rioters and protesters to not go anti-Zionist. Right, so there was a lot of propaganda that came out during BLM.
Basically, he had an enormous amount of influence, and they feared that basically the monster they created and propped up would be able to turn on them and get the influence against them, basically.
Bingo. The golem turns. That's exactly what it was.
Right.
And just like in the medieval times where, so the story of the golem is, you have the Jewish rabbis who create this monster out of clay to basically fight for the Jews and defend the Jews against their enemies, but then he gets too big and powerful and he turns on the Jews. And the rabbis have a magic word or phrase, they say, that then kills or takes the life out of the golem. Well, so when they create this golem, Martin Luther King, he gets too big and powerful and he turns on them, they use their magic. What do? They turn him into a sacrificial lamb and use his death as a vehicle to pass the Fair Housing Act of 1968, which accomplishes, finally, the full and lasting desegregation and integration of black and white America. It opens the door to the third world invasion being able to just perpetually undermine the white Christian, ethnic underpinnings of America. So they use his death in a magical way, if you will. They make him into a sacrificial lamb, right, to kill this golem, right? That's literally what they did. And
right.
And so those are the motives. Those are the motives behind the assassination of Martin Luther King. Now, to Myron's question, why didn't they? I think it's because he was just too far down. He was too committed. And we also know, based on testimony also from James Earl Ray, that Martin Luther King was taking up the Palestinian cause. And you can divine that anyway from his speeches and his activism of the time, because he starts talking out against colonialism, about the poor and the downtrodden, right? And he's taken up the cause of the Central Americans and the South Americans and the Vietnamese. So yeah, the Palestinians right snug in the middle of that. And it turns out that people in his camp were reaching out to the Palestinians. So if he ever was pro-Israel, he was turning and he was becoming pro-Palestinian. And we know that Israel, they just couldn't have that. It was too big, it was too powerful. They couldn't have opposition like that coming from within, because the left, they just couldn't have that kind of opposition. So they had to get rid of him. He ran afoul of multiple Jewish power agendas and the Johnson administration agenda. So they had to remove him. And what's interesting, so he gives this speech on April 4th, 1967. James Earl Ray is busted out of prison on April 23rd or April 27th, just 2 or 3 weeks later, by, it turns out, the federal government. But nobody knew that for decades. It was a secret. but the federal government was actually an operation led by the federal government to bust James Earl Ray out of prison in April of 1967, just a few weeks after the speech by Martin Luther King. So the reason why I bring that up, Myron, and everybody else, is I want you to understand that the plot against Martin Luther King, I believe once he gave that speech, announced his intentions, and the die was cast. Like, they knew they weren't going to be able to bring this guy back. He was off the reservation, and so they acted quickly. And within 2 to 3 weeks, they initiated their plan. And the federal government sprang James Earl Ray from prison in April 1967. Now, April 23rd, 1967, he'd been serving a 20-year sentence for armed robbery, okay? And he ended up escaping in a bread truck, okay, that was delivering baked goods from the prison bakery. And he hid inside that and escaped. And everybody for a lot of years just thought it was a lapse in security. But it turns out that it was actually a payoff from the federal government. The feds were involved, and they delivered $25,000 to the prison warden who made that happen. Okay, so now we're going to shift gears into James Earl Ray, because this is a very interesting story, Mark. James Earl Ray, again, escapes inexplicably, right, from prison. And he basically spends an entire year on the lam uncaptured. They're unable to capture him for an entire year. He travels around the United States, to Canada, back to the United States, to Mexico, to Canada, back to the United States. He's doing all this international travel all over the place. Nobody knows where he's getting the money. Nobody knows how he's accomplishing any of this, right? Like, how is he doing? They don't know how he escapes. How is he traveling around? How is he praying for everything? Well, it turns out that they set him up with an operative named Raoul in July of 1967. He's in Canada. He goes to Canada, and he meets an operative at a bar in Montreal named Raoul Coelho. And it turns out that this Raoul guy was a longtime associate of Jack Ruby. Jacob Leon Rubenstein, the man who shot and killed Lee Harvey Oswald, the man who was a member of the Jewish mob under Meyer Lansky, who was a weapons trafficker smuggling weapons to Israel. And it turns out that Raoul was a partner in this weapons trafficking operation. Okay, and this is going to be a little scattershot, but when they captured the white Mustang that James Earl Ray had bought and purchased with money given to him by this Raoul, Donald Wilson, one of the FBI agents who searched the car, found a file with a piece of paper in it that had the phone number to Jack Ruby's Carousel Club in Dallas. Okay? Just let that percolate, right? If you know about the JFK assassination and Jack Ruby's intimate involvement, here you have literally a direct connection to the JFK assassination and the network that assassinated JFK, all right? Who is the main handler for James Earl Ray, who's about to be set up as the quote-unquote lone gunman patsy in the assassination of Martin Luther King. Well, doesn't that sound a lot like Lee Harvey Oswald, Saran, the Palestinian terrorist who didn't even shoot RFK? Like, do you see the patterns? You see what's going on here? But it gets even more interesting, Myron. It gets even more interesting because the identity that James Earl Ray assumes for most of that year between April 67 and April 68 when he assassinates Martin Luther King, he assumes the identity of an Eric S. Galt. Eric S. Galt. And he gets a passport in the name of Eric S. Galt. This allows him to travel to Mexico, to Canada, all throughout the United States unmolested. And why, you might ask, does this Eric S. Galt passport and identity why does he adopt this identity, and why does he travel around with it? It turns out, we now know, based on 40 years of investigation by William Pepper, the lawyer who represented Martin Luther King and James Earl Ray both, and Saran, they discovered that Eric S. Galt's a real person who was a member of the National Security Agency and military intelligence. Eric S. Galt. So basically, if James Earl Ray had ever been captured, they would have looked up his name, seen that, this guy's untouchable, let him go, right? So that's number one. But the story gets even crazier. I mean, it's unbelievable, but it's every single time, Myron, every single time. So check this out. So Eric S. Galt was the head of, let me see, I'm going to
He was the head of a Union Carbide factory in Toronto. And I'm going to read something here. This is from Michael Collins Piper, the same guy who basically exposed that Israel killed JFK, Michael Collins Piper. He also did investigative work on this. Eric Escalt was the head of Union Carbide's factory in Toronto. They had, and Eric Escalt had top secret security clearance. The warehouse he ran housed an extremely top secret munitions project funded by the CIA, the U.S. Naval Service Weapons Center, and the Army Electronics Research and Development Command. The work involved the production and storage of proximity fuses used in surface-to-air missiles and artillery shells. The company was engaged in high-security research projects controlled by the U.S. parent Union Carbide Nuclear Division, who ran the Oak Ridge National Laboratory. Galt was also cooperating with the 902nd Military Intelligence Group operation that involved the theft of some of these proximity fuses and their covert delivery to Israel. According to Pepper, Galt obtained a confidential memorandum issued by the 902nd Military Industrial Group on 17 October 1967, which confirms and discusses this operation. The project, called MEXPO, which was defined as Military Exploitation Project of Scientific and Technical Division in Israel. So there it is. Somehow, James Earl Ray steered into the use of the identity of a real-life individual who had ties to Israel in the scientific and technical research angle in basically in the development of Israel's nuclear weapons program through the Union Carbide factory in Toronto, Canada. How in the hell is James Earl Ray running around with this guy's identity? And what are the odds that this guy's identity is intimately tied to a secret weapons program with Israel? I'll just let that sort of just,
that's, insane coincidence. Of course, they're going to tell you that you're an anti-Semite, and that's a wild conspiracy theory as usual. It just fascinates you, man. How, and I guarantee, dude, that link that you just made, that's probably why the files are still fucking classified, bro. Whenever these classified things, is typically there's an Israeli link whenever they classify shit like this. It's almost every single time.
And in fact, you're right, because these James Earl Ray, Eric Galt records are, from what I've been able to determine, they're classified until 2027. I wouldn't be surprised if they push that back and keep pushing it back. But there's even more. But wait, there's more. Because James Earl Ray also believed that this Raoul guy, had been traveling with a guy named David Graver. And Graver was involved in basically a mob looting operation of a bank called American Bank and Trust in New York. And this American Bank and Trust Company of New York was actually the restructured Swiss trade bank originally founded by the Mossad figure Tibor Rosenbaum. And you might remember that Tibor Rosenbaum was involved in another little company called Permindex. All right, I think you're familiar with Permindex. I know
very, very familiar with them. I'm actually pulling it up right now. Basically a CIA front. And we know Permindex had obviously a play in JFK as well. Clay Shaw, all these guys had links to that.
Clay Shaw saw it on the board, and it was a Mossad front helping finance Israel's nuclear program.
Yep.
So you had basically another scam here. They were looting basically this American Bank and Trust Company of New York in a mob-style bust. They embezzled like millions of dollars of funds to help finance Israel's secret nuclear arms program. Here's the crazy thing. This David Graver, who was a central figure in looting this bank to fund Israel's nuclear weapons program, he died in a plane crash in 1976, like 2 weeks before the whistle was blown on the whole scam.
Every time, man.
But wait, there's more. Because Raoul gave another emergency phone number to James Earl Ray. If he was ever in trouble or needed help, he was to reach out to this phone number. Turns out that this phone number was to a company called Leventhal Marine Supply in New Orleans. So New Orleans, Clay Shaw, JFK, weapons smuggling. So Leventhal Marine Supply was actually owned by a guy named Samuel Leventhal, a member of the Zionist Organization of America and the B'nai B'rith of the ADL in New Orleans.
Of course. Eastern Standard Time.
Eastern Standard Time. So now what's interesting about all this is all this information, it took decades to compile it, to discover it, to find the witnesses. But it's all been compiled by people who are completely agnostic to the Israel JFK tie. These people don't know anything about the Israel tie to JFK. They don't know anything about that. They don't know about anything about the Jewish ties to the assassination of JFK or the Jewish ties to the assassination of Martin Luther King. So a lot of these facts, I would think, to them seem maybe just sort of interesting or curious or superfluous, but to the trained eye who is aware of what's going on here, these things are like leaping off the page to me, right? So, I mean, we can get into the actual mechanics if anybody's interested in the conspiracy, the actual events of the assassination, like the triggerman, the setup at the hotel.
Yeah, you might as well, bro. I mean, I'm going right now. I mean, it's interesting how, because a lot of people might say, man, this is sloppy work by the Israelis, but you got to remember that 5 years prior, they successfully assassinated a president. So, killing a civil rights activist really was like, we got away with killing JFK. I think we can get away with killing this black guy, too. No problem. So, this was 5 years after the fact. And then, when did they kill JFK? They killed MLK.
April 4th. MLK was April 4th, 68.
RFK dies literally 3 months later. Like 3 months later.
Literally 2 months later. 3 months later, yeah. So they're fixing now to whack RFK just 3 months after this. And by the way, there was actually plotted between in May of 1968 to use a mind-controlled MK-Ultra Palestinian asset to kill Yasser Arafat in 1968.
Oh, yeah.
In May of 68, which is right sandwiched in between MLK and RFK, they hatch an MK-Ultra plot to assassinate Yasser Arafat.
Since you mentioned American Bank and Trust, Sam, the same day that JFK was assassinated, November 22nd of 63, that's when the Mossad front bank, Swiss Israel Trade Bank, assumed control of American Bank and Trust. I put that down in the chat.
And that's Tibor Rosenbaum's funded bank, the Swiss, what you call it, Swiss Bank and Trust.
And we'll get these codes. I see Dr. Nice is up. Welcome. We'll go into original, and then I'll leave the floor to you guys. Have fun.
Hey, thanks, Drew. There, Dr. Nice. That hearing even Molly James' testimony was pretty tragic. Basically.
Sorry, Dr. Before, can you just go? I said original, and then we'll go to Dr. Just because I promised we go to her first.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, no problem.
Original, you go first, and Dr. Knife.
Hi, hello. Hiya, thank you. I was just going to say, the Lone Travelers conspiracy theories, my favourites were that Hitler is still alive, Michael Jackson, and somebody else. Elvis possibly, but I think Hitler would be like 130. He doesn't believe in gravity, but the best one is, I don't know if it's his, but I've heard is that Australia and New Zealand are in fact the same island, and they just pretend to be 2 different islands for tourism reasons, and they just, when you land there, they just say, oh, you're in Australia, or you're in New Zealand, which I tell my Australian friends all the time, because I find it just so bizarre, fascinating. So I love that. And then, what else was I going to say? Something silly. It's not really a conspiracy theory, but I was in a space full of whinging white men who were like, they were taking turns to be racist and sexist and homophobic, all the usual, and all moaning, about, stuff. And apologies if you heard this, but I just loved it. This man finally got the mic, and in all seriousness, his thing to say was, do you know what? I'm still upset about the opening ceremony of the Paris Olympics. I was like, what? Like, he's so upset about that, which was nearly a year ago, and that's what you're so upset about in this world, like not the potential war, the wars that are going on, or the people dying from COVID. No, the Paris Olympic opening ceremony, which at the time I think had some drag queens in it, and I was like, more drag queens. I just found it fascinating that he's still upset about that, and not really anything else, and like that anyone would care. And also that even if he was French, no one would care. It was like, what? I just had so many questions, so I just had to share that with you because I found it just fascinating, but and slightly funny. But I hope no one else is still upset about the Paris Olympic opening ceremony. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Kendall. There's some wildness that goes on for sure. But,
are you talking about the predictive programming of that opening ceremony, about the angel flying into the sky with a vaccine up its ass?
Hold on, we got an order here. his hand, so we got a couple before we get to you, man.
It is correct, though. We are talking about that. But yes, hang in there. We'll get you, Republican.
So Dr. Nice, then Lori, then you can go, Republican.
Wow, I'm like all distracted. I don't know what that was. I have 3 favorite conspiracy theories, and one of them has been proven wrong. That was Trump dying on, was it April 24, 2025, according to The Simpsons? I might have the date wrong.
I think it was April or May, but yeah.
Yeah, it's already gone. It passed. So that Jimmy Page worshiping the devil one was a good one back in the early 70s. And Paul McCartney being dead on the Abbey Road album was really interesting. As far as Bowden goes, I just wanted to point out, this was not a hearing to determine her guilt. She had already lost. The hearing was actually to determine her sentence, and extenuating circumstances kept coming up, as far as could she explain herself. And so this is the appropriate time, if you're in front of your medical board, to be humble, repentant, show some growth, show some change, lose your ego, and she failed. And I thought it was hysterical, and I'm so sorry to say that.
She blamed everybody else for her problems. Everybody else. And then, like, the lawyer lady, she just kept going on, and it was just a never-ending story. The bottom line is, she showed up with that nurse, or that nurse showed up without any type of court order to administer the said medication, nor was it faxed to the hospital. So, no matter what they say, what verbal reasoning, no hospital is going to say, hey, court said this, trust me, bro, and let somebody come in and give medications to someone that doesn't have privileges in their hospital. That's crazy.
Oh, I agree completely. Well, so put yourself in the ICU. You've got a ventilated patient who is prone and has an NG tube, and the nurse who's providing that patient's, one-to-one care. A nurse is going to arrive and get report about the patient they're about to administer medications to. Are they going to get a report on allergies and contraindications? That's how we function in an ICU. Who put the NG in? Has it been verified? Did it just get placed an hour ago, and do we have to verify placement before I use it? I mean, these are ordinary things that we do in hospitals that nobody knows about. So the whole situation was just fantastically ridiculous.
I like how she was like, when Molly James was up there, and they're like, well, would you consider risk if a nurse that doesn't work there shows up? Would that be concerning? All Molly was like, no. What?
Yeah.
If I had an ICU and some rando came up, and tried to do things I didn't know, I'd be calling security because I wouldn't know who this person was.
Yeah, they're so completely unverified, no credentials. It's like, is this the movie Catch Me If You Can? I mean, come on. You don't just walk into an ICU and start delivering care.
Doctor, I concur. What do you think, Doctor? I concur. That's what that reminds me of.
Anyway, I'll pause. Thanks, guys.
All right, thanks. Let's go Lori, then Republican.
Thanks. And yeah, I want to add that Alex Jones and the Blaze are also in Texas. And who is the Mary that you're talking about? Is she one from a long time ago that lost her license?
She never lost it. Mary Talley Bowden. She never lost her license.
Thank you.
She lost her privileges at some hospitals, but this isn't for her discipline. And so, yeah, she's in hot water.
Thank you. I remember when she lost her Twitter account and stuff too. All right, thank you. Tally Bowden, because I want to look it up.
Oh yeah. Okay, and now we can go to Republicans.
Yeah, I just want to read some quotes. This is Dr. Anthony Fauci. When people are vaccinated, they're not going to get infected. This is Joseph Biden, president. You're not going to get COVID if you have these vaccinations. This is Rochelle Walensky. Please mute. I'm not finished yet. Vaccinated people do not carry the virus and don't get sick. Albert Bourla, Pfizer CEO. There's no variant that escapes the protection of our vaccines. Bill Gates, everyone who takes the vaccine is reducing their transmission. Rachel Maddow, this is the last one. Now we know the vaccines work well enough that the virus stops. The point is, all communication is hypnosis. If this is an actual debate room about pro-vax versus anti-vax, I am a conspiracy theorist. I think the vaccine was a deep state plot to essentially destroy the fertility of America, to rape us up the ass with an unnecessary injection from a government-funded facility out of Wuhan. We need arrests now. Fauci, arrest. Joseph Biden, arrested. Bill Gates, arrested. Rachel Maddow, arrested. Albert Bourla, arrested. We need vaccine justice now.
Can you calm down a minute?
I'm hypnotized right now, so.
Republican.
That was awesome. I might be going to your side. Look at this flag.
Republican, why did you believe those select people that you mentioned?
Believe them? I'm reporting the news that these scam artists have infected you with a mind virus, that your injections were completely unnecessary and resulted in sudden death. Sudden death!
Who died suddenly? There was one sudden death, and I think it was maybe your common sense there, sir. And my ears.
Listen, the point is, I am running against Darren LaHood, 16th District Congressman. He's a vaccinologist, told everybody, if you don't get vaxxed, we'll never be able to stop the pandemic or the spread. Get Moderna, Pfizer, J&J in your bloodstream now. Get an experimental mRNA cocktail stuck into your arm so you can possibly die of a sudden death. Heart arrhythmia, brain aneurysm. You're gonna die if you get this vaccine. We need arrests now.
Who created the vaccine? Who's the president? They called himself the father.
Dr. Bill Gates, the vaccinologist genius who started Microsoft Software Corporation.
Was the president of the United States in 2020?
Listen, the point is, Donald Trump, he was walked in by a bunch of vaccinologist liar frauds. He needed to fire Fauci on the spot. He didn't do it. We needed the "you're fired" show by Donald Trump. He didn't give us what we wanted, but we are MAGA-ing now. MAGA now.
How's that going? How's the polls looking for?
It's looking great. Donald Trump is upsetting more Democrats. Actually, the real vaccine is Donald Trump because he's causing sudden death with Democrats. Their heads are popping. Their Doge scam is imploding. All their DEI and stupid bullshit is being exposed. Doge is exposing woke spending. We need to thank Elon Musk for this room, aka Adrian Dittman, because without Elon Musk's $40 billion in buying this platform, there never would have been an opening into the censorship industrial complex of the Democrats and the deep state industrial complex. So thank Elon Musk. Otherwise, this room wouldn't even be possible. Thank you, Elon, for exposing the scam artists, the frauds.
We were using it before you took over. Sorry.
Keep telling yourself that, you liar. Deep state infiltrators from the CIA, FBI controlled this app. Don't you know anything about the Twitter files and Matt Taibbi? You don't know shit, Dr. Vaccinologist. You probably are triple boosted. You're probably double vaxxed. You probably already had a brain aneurysm. Did your heart pop yet? Do you have a migraine and do you have pain in your hamstrings? Do you have lower back pain?
Dude, all you did was look like a...
Are you married? Because I'm looking. Are you married?
Rosie.
I'm married to America, to Uncle Sam. We are going to arrest Dr. Fauci. We are going to arrest Dr. Bill Gates. And we are going to primary every single Republican rhino in the Congress till there's not one more COVID-19 vaccine scamologist in the Congress. They're all getting primaried, starting with Darren LaHood.
First troll attempt of all time, man. This is boringly embarrassing. This is bad, man. Please do something new. Like, we haven't heard this shit for 3 years.
Well, welcome back to another episode of Low IQ Dumb People who like to waste their time on X Spaces all night.
Republican, how much are they paying you for this?
Listen, the people of America want justice against Pfizer, Moderna, J&J, Bill Gates, Dr. Fauci, the CDC. Robert Kennedy is bringing us justice now!
Can you share the script with the room? Because this is pretty embarrassing, man.
You're projecting your own embarrassment and your own stupidity, you sheep! You lemming! You slave to the deep state!
Republican, I'm a boisterous troll, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, we got you. Same shit, a different day.
Normally.
Tell us something new. Tell us something new.
All communication is hypnosis. Wake up, sheeple! You voters, you're getting destroyed by property taxes, high gas, high electric. You're getting vaccinated with experimental mRNA cocktails that are defertilizing you, killing you. You're all brainwashed moron clowns, Democrats. You're a bunch of Democrats.
Oh my God. You make Gary the numbers look Sam Traitor. Holy shit. But that was embarrassing for all the wrong reasons, man.
You're projecting! You're an embarrassment! Go call your mommy and ask her if she got vaccinated and whether or not you took your flu booster! Get your boosters! Go to Walgreens and see your pharmacist for your latest COVID-19 vaccine update!
I think he's one in 2 or 3 different lines at this point.
I do not tonight. I should though. You know what? You don't have to be fair.
Let's check the nest.
No, not much.
Thank you, Dr. Bill Gates. May I have another booster, please? Thank you, Pfizer. Thank you, Moderna. Thank you, J&J. Feeling great. My health is fantastic. All my problems have gone away with your amazing COVID-19 vaccine. Thank you for making me feel so much healthier. Thank you, Rachel Maddow. Thank you. Thank you, Operation Warp Speed. Thank you, taxpayers. Thank you. Thank you, Operation Heroes Act and spending $1.2 trillion and increasing the debt and increasing in inflation and enslaving our future grandchildren in a national deficit crisis where we can't even pay the interest payments anymore. Thank you very little for the $40 trillion.
Hey, Republican, before you talk, you have to share your script with the class. Like, it's not fair because, you know, it's so long and boring. Like, that's the only thing long, but not the only thing boring that comes.
You just keep projecting all your boring content. You're not saying anything interesting. Try to be a little entertaining. Try to be a little funny. Oops, you must be triple boosted and double vaxxed. You're super boring. Hey, come on, everybody. Put a 1 in the chat if you think he's super boring and I'm more entertaining than him. You're super boring and you're projecting.
See, there you go, dude. You can't even come up with something original. This is sad. Come on.
Okay, do you know who my president
Give us a new conspiracy. A new one.
Oh my God, it's Gavin Newsom.
Gavin Newsom's gonna be your president. I don't think so.
No, he's my president now.
Oh, you love Gavin Newsom. He's got great hair, but he doesn't have any brains. He's another moron.
But yet he runs the.
You know PM, don't feed the trolls. He's just like rambling.
I'm not rambling. We need COVID-19 justice now, and Robert Kennedy is gonna give it to us.
Dude, if you're not gonna say something new, we're gonna move on. Because this is boring.
You're not saying anything original or interesting. You just keep repeating yourself about how boring I am. Why don't you try to be a little interesting?
Okay, thumbs down. Thumbs up or thumbs down? Who wants this guy to keep talking? Thumbs up if you want him. Thumbs down if you don't. Who says democracy is dead?
Who wants me to continue roasting these vaccinologists, scam artists, and fraudsters who killed your parents, killed your grandparents, and ruined 3 years of your life with their mask mandates and scams? Fuck them all, they're all liars. We need patriots, not boring people who project, you're boring, you're boring, you're not interesting, share your script, you're not interesting, you're boring.
Oh God, my brain. No, I didn't remove him from the space. I just put him on speakers. If you can come back and behave like a normal adult, we'll bring you back. But until then, you can.
Hey Ken, how's it going? Good evening, sir. How are you? I said, how are you?
I'm okay, just okay.
Well, what'd you do today? Huh?
How about yourself?
Oh, I can't complain. I have a roof over my head. My taxes are paid. The government pays me just to live. It's unbelievable. God bless Uncle Sam. He's a patriot.
they finally paying you some income?
Yeah, I'm getting paid.
Are you really?
Yeah, yeah. The government loves their patriots.
How the hell did that happen?
It's a miracle. I must have some lucky angel that loves me.
Well, what got it started?
Just a couple of prayers and a good book.
Well, good for you. Congratulations.
Thanks. How are your kids doing?
They're all fine. They're all fine.
Good.
So, are they giving you work to do or what?
Yeah, I'm running for Congress in the 16th District against a rhino vaccinologist and internet scam artist, Darren LaHood.
Well, so you're getting income, but they're not giving you work to do?
No, I got lucky. Some people, they got to work real hard for all their money. Some people don't have to do any work at all. Welcome to Congress.
Good for you, John.
Thanks.
What else is new?
Oh, nothing. Just the springtime is here. I've got plumbing issues. I got landscaping to do. I've been seeing this beautiful woman. Life is good. I can't complain. I'm getting sunshine. I'm eating delicious chicken.
How's your friend Larson doing?
I don't know. He lives at home and he's a crybaby. He rides a bicycle. He hates Donald Trump and he's triple vaccinated.
You know about that $15,000 he loaned somebody?
Yeah, he's a loser. He's never going to get it back.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah, he doesn't know how to play tough, and he doesn't know how to take any action, so he's gonna lose his money. That's life. He's a schmuck. He should have put that money in the stock market like a smart person. He would have $40,000 by now.
Well, I told you a long time ago he needs your help.
He needs to go to the gym and read a book. That's the only advice I can give people. There's nothing else I could do for anybody other than give him 5 minutes of my time. But I mean, if he's not going to read any books or go to the gym, he's shooting himself in the foot.
Well, one of these days we'll get together, okay?
Okay, sounds good. Have a good night, and I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, thanks, John.
Okay, take care. Bye.
But of the people I knew, that's how it worked. And when I heard this discussion this evening, I was thinking, no, we don't do opinions in science. We do what can you prove? What is proof? What is evidence? What can stand up to peer review? And if your argument stands up to peer review, then by all means, publish it. But if it's gonna be just a lot of, this is my opinion and I disagree with everybody else, that's not science. That's opinion, and that's got no place in the discussion about healthcare. And look at it this way, when COVID-19 had just begun, I had to have an x-ray, and a friend of mine was a radiologist, and he showed me a short video of a guy's lungs that he was basically within a day or two of dying from COVID-19. I just said to him, where does the air go in? All that, it was just this large white mess. There was no space for air to exchange. And that's an illness. That's a severe illness that killed that guy and an awful lot of Americans and people all over the world. I understand that this argument, there are upsides and downsides to the COVID vaccines and boosters that have come out, but I guess I have no patience for people that want their opinion to be thrown into the mix when it's about people's well-being and ultimately life and death. Thanks very much.
Thank you for that. Yeah, I agree. It's all fun. Oh, God, he's requesting again. But it's all fun and games until people actually do get hurt, and these people don't realize that. And, that goes on any side, of misinformation. There's people in pro-vax that sell false cures. There's people on the anti-vax that sell false cures and promises. So we got to call any of them out that, are basically peddling slop to people that, make them choose bad decisions. And so my challenge has always been, you really shouldn't take advice on the Twitter space except for seeing. You can listen, but you should always go to your primary or whomever and get their opinion. So
or roast. Just go to roast.
No, we're not going to roast on medical opinion. Jesus Christ. Hey, Dr. David, welcome back.
Hey everyone. Well, that was nice. I agree with Strategic Jane, and it's a nice lead-in for I thought what I would bring up because she mentioned about polio vaccination, and I like to talk about polio because it's terrible, but it's also very fascinating. How it works. But I want to avoid
Hold on, Joe. You're next. Yeah. Okay. 1 sec.
So I want to avoid controversy, completely avoid controversy by talking about IPV versus OPV and how in Gaza, the WHO should not have given OPV, they should have let Israel give IPV to everybody, inactivated polio vaccine, because that's what we give in the developed world. And so I'm kind of partial against OPV, even though that's the one I had. I had OPV because I'm older than 28, so they gave OPV for most of the time in the 20th century. After the first few years, they switched, and partially because of what happened with the Qatar incident, and there was a setback, which ultimately made everything way safer. It really, that's the origin of all our vaccine safety and all that. But for a few decades, we were giving OPV, oral polio vaccine, up until to everybody up till 1997, and then from 97 to 2000, it kind of transitioned to all IPV, going back to IPV. And so the only places they're giving OPV now is in places where they don't think they have enough trained people and they don't have the resources to give IPV, because the IPV you need an intramuscular injection, so you need nurses or someone else who knows how to give IM injection, and so it's all kind of, well, we can give everybody, we can get the OPV spread around, plus it spreads itself after you give it because it's fecal to oral and it's just live and it spreads that way. So the rationale has been that, but as some of you know really, really well, so OPV, so it's got the 3 strains in there that have been they've been altered so that they're not pathogenic. OPV1, OPV2, and OPV3. But the problem is that there's a possibility of reversion to a pathogenic phenotype. From partial reversion of the genome, and that was producing kind of what's called vaccine-induced polio, which was the biggest problem was with the OPV2 component of it, and all the OPV 2 that occurs now is from the oral polio vaccine. There's not from the wild type. There's no more wild type OPV2 anymore. I think we got rid of the 1 also, and then there's 3. Okay, and so we get to a point where it's like diminishing return. It helps most people, but there's that small amount that if they're a little bit immunocompromised or if there's reversion, it gets into the water supply, then it'll affect other people. And so there was the case that we had in the United States a few years ago in 2022 of unvaccinated.
You still there, David?
David. We are just listening to you because you're making a lot of sense.
David, I think we lost David.
Oh my
That's
God.
Berkey. He put him down because he's a Zio.
So what you saying, little,
Hold on, I think
what
he's
we
back.
do now,
Hold on. We got people ahead of you, sir.
expand it a little bit, yeah.
Dolo, hold on. It's not your turn. Dave?
I kid. What
I don't
happened to?
know. He'll probably come back.
Has I got a vaccine or not? So yeah, that's all I have to say.
Okay, we'll go back to you, Dave, after Joy. So go ahead, Joy. You said you're autistic.
Yeah, I'm autistic, but I'm not sure if it's from having the vaccine or not.
Well, don't you worry. Robert F. Kennedy is going to let you know by September.
Dude, do I have to put you back down already?
We need arrests now! Justice for vaccine survivors now! Justice for vaccine...
But then we're having died before we got out of this new day in court to retry the case, to business once and for all. But basically, there was another author. There was another author who questioned James Earl Weiss. So another Jewish writer who questioned the story, but implicated.
that doesn't revert genetically as easily, but it still does a little bit, a small percentage, and ends up that most of the cases of paralytic polio that arise are from the OPV. The IPV doesn't do that. All right. Now it doesn't have the advantage of it doesn't immunize the GI tract, but it keeps you from getting sick. Actually, needed to get the vaccine. It's not going to spread around on its own, but it's the one that works better. The efficacy is great, and so we just have to use the resources. We gotta spend the money, get the trained people to do it, and we gotta give it out to everybody. Because what's going to happen in Gaza is there will be now cases from the OPV, unfortunately. So, but if you can get now the IPV in there, you can handle it. That way. So I think that's what we need to do. We need to do that also in all the other places where the polio is still endemic. We need to get IPV out there. So I'm landing based on that.
Thanks, David. Yeah, I think the OPV and the IPV, it's definitely been an interesting thing that's in the OPV, I think has been maligned. But it makes you wonder why we just can't have the IPV for everybody. But
I'm just being facetious.
$1 million on the line. $1 million on the line, comedian. Will you suck a dick to get that $1 million?
I mean, what do you consider sucking a dick?
Suck a dick. Mouth on, back and forth, nigga. You know what the fuck I mean?
Yeah, but my fellow N-word, how long do you have to suck the dick? Is it just like a kiss?
Just say the word. Lucifer, you could give him the time limit. Lucifer. Huh? He said how long? Why he say the N-word? Such bitch shit.
I'm saying it. I'm donating money to Shiloh's fund. I'm donating money to Shiloh. My fellow N-words, the time has come. The time has come to call an N-word an N-word. And if you're not going to say the N-word, then you're a coward for not saying the N-word.
He's deflected out his emotional. He's scared of the observer and the curator. He's scared of. He's scared of. Don't be scared of the observer and the curator. Nigga, you the one that told us how to.
I came back to the abyss to tell you guys, hey, what's up? Find out what's going on in the abyss with the Black Brothers.
The brothers of the abyss. Of the bliss. Now we aligned with one. The observer and the curator are aligned, and we got them. say nigga, bro. Say the word, bro. Just say the word for nigga. Go ahead. You can say it like hard.
My fellow N-words, I just came back to say what's up in the abyss.
Say nigga.
Shiloh. Welcome back to my comedy podcast called N-Word. Can a dog be a cat? Can a cat be a dog?
Bow down, my master, Jigsaw, my master. Bow down to you, Jigsaw. Let the games begin, Jigsaw. Good to see you. We got the observer, the curator, and the game. Jigsaw. Oh, man, comedy. You didn't want something. You got it. That's right. You're here live. I just want you to call me a nigga. Comedian, we just want you to call us a nigga and let the games begin.